Hey everybody, it is Saturday night. Welcome to Mental Health Matters. Thanks for popping in. I appreciate the fact before 8 o'clock, well, before 8:45, y'all, I had like 4 thumbs up on the YouTube side already. So, thanks for that. So, why are we here? Because 2 out of every 3 gun deaths you hear about are suicides. And if we talk about mental health, if we talk about violence prevention, we can actually have an impact. I was on G Web's show or a little listening to it, him and Tony Simon, and they were just talking about like the impact you can have. And imagine how great it would be if we could get that 20,000 a year roughly suicides down and make it smaller number. And that is kind of the idea of being here. The idea is little tiny pieces of stuff that we can talk about, things that will help your mental health, my mental health, things that you may not have thought of before, or things you need to be reminded of. I find often I just need to be reminded over and over again of the same lessons I've already learned. And remember that for most of us, I don't know, we learn from our failures best of all. So I don't have DJ in the back office here with me, so that must mean that I forgot to send him the link or something last week when we set this up. So apologies. I am not in my office. I am not in my bedroom. I am in a hotel room. So I'm limited for what I can do. So DJ, apologies for that. Been on the road all day after a funeral this morning. So it's been a little bit of running around a bit. So what do we have for you tonight? Well, I have notes. Y'all know you're in trouble when I've got notes, right? No, hopefully that means it will be good. I'll stay on track at least a little bit. And so here's what we got today. My goal is to remind you that you have a choice. We don't have a choice of what happens to us. We don't have a choice when stuff happens to us. What we do have is a choice on how we can react to something if we pay attention and ask the question. And the questions are lots of different ones. When things happen suddenly, the ability to stay calm is something that most of us have to train. And because I'm here and most of you guys are all part of the Second Amendment community and or the gun community, we tend to train a lot of things. And calmness is one of them. Because nothing ever really happens well when we are doing things when we're mad, frustrated, upset, right? We're all still going to get mad, frustrated, upset, but at the same time, we need to be able to maybe back, take a breath. I want to talk about breathing here. Look, DJ, I remember to turn the thing on all by myself. I think that's the right one. Yes. Okay. So remembering we have resources such as 741-741 for texting so you don't want to talk to anybody. 988 is another thing now that it is national. And then call a friend if you need to. There are so many things that we need to be aware of to make our lives a little better for us. Because here's the reality of this. If you and I make our lives a little better for us, then we've got more bandwidth to help others. And I'm going to try to go back to my notes again. Let's talk about how crazy life is. And I don't know about you guys, but I know when I'm talking to people in my everyday life, whether it's my students, my friends, my family, it's like, it seems like there's a lot of stuff going on all at the same time, all the time lately. And then we have to kind of step back and it's like, well, what am I looking at? What am I looking for? Because we need to remember that we get more of what we focus on. And here's the challenge. This thing, this internet thing, it can really suck us in. And it kind of guides us. And so if we click on one thing, all of a sudden we get more of that. And so remembering that we get to choose what we pay attention to, remembering that we have a choice. Because sometimes like, oh, this is interesting. And then we go down that rabbit hole and there's more stuff. The good and the bad are equally available to you here on the World Wide Web, in case any of you folks forgot what www stands for. And so since we have choices to make, sometimes if we can make sure that we're making those good choices, like, do I really want to pick up my phone and waste another hour and a half playing puzzle games? Maybe I do. Or do I want to spend another hour doom scrolling on Facebook and looking at everybody's rants and raves about politics? Maybe I do, because I feel like I'm informed if I do that. But then I know better because it makes me frustrated and annoyed, honestly. Now, here's the reality of life. As crazy as stuff is, most of us have pretty decent lives. We all have roofs over our heads. We have food in our bellies. We have clothes on our back. We have friends and family that we can share things with. And I know sometimes these things are good, and sometimes it's like, well, it could be more challenging, or, could be less challenging. I don't know. Sorry, lost that train of thought. This is why I need DJ here from time to time. Help, jump in, help. But excuse me. One of the challenges in life, and the information we're often fed, is most of us have heard, if it bleeds, it leads. And a lot of us don't understand why that is, as far as what is about that. And the short version is this. If you hear about someone who died in a car crash, you did not just die in a car crash. So it actually makes you feel a little bit better that there's somebody there that has it worse off than you. Now, for the last couple of weeks, I have been preparing and getting ready for testifying at the Capitol, and that was last Wednesday or a week ago Wednesday. I don't even remember at this point. The 11th, so a week ago Wednesday. And so my attention was just all on the craziness of the stuff that we had going on here in Connecticut. It's like they're taking freedoms away like crazy. They want to take away guns. They want to take away your right to govern your own body because they're mandating vaccines. They want to take away people's right to homeschool. And you're like, what's the big deal? And so it's like, for a week there, I'm like focusing on getting that stuff. And it's really hard to stop. Like, no. Take that breath. Hold on a moment. What does this really mean? And you can decide what it really means to you. Last week, when DJ and I were talking about this topic, DJ was talking about how we want to make chains to go towards something good. So it's like, all right, what was good about these bills that just came out? Well, it got a lot of people aware and awake and coming out to the Capitol to have their voices heard. And so you can look at it as like, all right, something bad has to happen for good things to occur. And that's just one thing. Now, I've had crazy weeks. The testifying is in the past. I had a crazy RSO class that was like really huge and took a lot more time than I expected. My mom, we're still working on that, trying to figure out how to handle all of the time that she requires now because of her dementia. And yet, here's the reality of it is, my life is amazing. I have so many blessings. Much of it is you guys here in the chat over here. And it's just like right now, I'm on date night with my husband. Right now, I have two amazing kids. In a couple days, Tara and I are going to meet at the spa and go have lunch. And so it's one of these things where it's just like, yeah, there's some crazy stuff going on around us at all times. And it might grab our attention. But if we can remember to think about questions like, how does this truly affect my day-to-day life? Because headlines usually have zero impact unless it's something specifically about you. And the ability to just stop and ask the question, what could this mean? The ability to ask the question, well, how do I connect something to this that is a positive? And it's a skill set, just like learning how to shoot guns. It's like it's something you have to practice. And you have to grow the muscle that makes you pause for a moment and ask that question, what could this mean? I learned this originally from Tony Robbins, and he told this story about how he had an assistant who was the best, and one day she totally messed up. She didn't bring something that he needed for something. And he talks about the story how he was so mad. He's like, how could she do this to me? And he was pissed off and angry, and he's like, I can't believe that they could do this to me. And he realized in this that he'd made it all personal. It was all about him. And when he stopped for a minute and started thinking about it, he's like, well, wait a second. What could this mean? And then he's like, well, it could be that the person that he gave it to couldn't get something done because some other break in the chain of what he was trying to accomplish. And then he's like, well, or, I mean, you could catastrophize it and be like, oh, maybe she got in a car accident and she's, dead on the side of the road or something. I do that part, not Tony Robbins. But it's just like, once you stop focusing on why or how could something like this happen to me, then you can be like, oh, wait a second, what could this mean? I don't know if you've ever had anyone get mad at you or you've ever gotten mad at anyone, but it's just like sometimes we're very delicate and we're like, how could someone do this to me? And it's just like they're not doing anything to you at all if you actually stop and think about it. So, all right, I'm going to attempt to be DJ for a moment or two. Now, to be fair, I sort of have a cold, so my voice is getting down there. But I'm going to go very top. And I know first person in the room, well, actually waiting in the outskirts of the room was Krabby Turtle at like 7:45 this evening, Eastern Standard Time, of course. And who else? Oh, then I popped on. And then Mr. DJ came in with all of the links and all the resources. Chris Bulldog, Saria Fan, Mike Ballinger, and Pam. And keep going. Tanya is here, Abigail, and what I thought, what was WWF? Sorry, Kids Foundation. Oh yeah, sorry. I just need to read words. Then there is Woods with the dog nose because Woods loves his dogs. Yeah, so sorry, I am going to just read stuff as I go since Abigail is out there. Oh, I'm trying to, yeah, I can almost click on things. Their life could be better, could be worse. That is actually exactly what got me through getting picked on as a kid. My mom convinced me that people picked on me because they saw something in me that they were jealous of. And I would remind myself that it could be worse or it could be better. And that there were kids who were, being shoved in closets and whatnot. And it wasn't that bad for me. So anyway, and then Jamie's here too. It's okay if you're late, Jamie. Bath time is good. That is also. And hold on, I'm like DJ's got all sorts of good stuff. Stinking thinking, as a coach of mine once said, it stuck with me. Salute to Rip Coach Leg. Aw, well, yeah. So coaches come and go, and there's always someone in our life that has said something to us that stucks. Oh, thank you. Sorry. See, I'm reading as I go. I do love my earrings. These are actually smaller than the ones I wore to the funeral because they were huge, and I don't usually do huge. I'll get to the end of the list here, and then I'll continue on. Yeah, so Saria Fan. Yeah, lucky you woke up. It's true. Like I said, today we went to a funeral, and it's like every day is a gift, and that's why it's called the present. Not to get too, whatever that's corny on you or not, but it's just like we don't know. No day is promised. It's one of the things it says in the Bible. And anyone that knows anything is like, yeah, you are not promised any moment beyond this particular one that you're doing. So this is where, what could this mean? And this is where I also talk to my kids all the time about, we tend to fail and we tend to learn the best from our failures. And yet so very often our culture is, well, of course you get it done and it's always right. And you've just got it, a tiger by its tail and you can just do everything. Thank you. Oh, whoops. Tomorrow is promised to no one. Exactly, DJ. Sorry. So Abigail stayed 20 years in her closet. All right. Well, to each their own. But I know it's a play on words. All right. Back to my notes, because otherwise I will continue rambling while I look at the chat. Oops. And of course, again, being on a laptop, I'm almost able to find my notes. Hold on. So close and yet so far. All right. So no matter what, do your best not to catastrophize and make things way worse than they are. Like, how can someone do something to me like this? That's an example of catastrophizing. Yeah, I'm going to stop saying that word because it's too hard for me to say tonight. Realize that we have a choice and we have to work that muscle that makes us realize that we have that choice. Everybody has hard things in their life. Everybody has easy things in their lives. Everybody has blessings and curses. It's not as though anyone gets out of this alive, right? And at the funeral today, we were actually talking about this, is that our time is the most precious thing that we have, because no amount of money can buy more time. And when lost in family, you can be thankful for the time that you had. And I don't know why, but I think like the more funerals I go to, the more it rings true that I realize that when they call it a celebration of life, I understand it a little bit better each time, because we are sad because we're not going to have any more time to create new memories. And at the same time, it gives us an opportunity to be thankful for the memories that we do have. And to create the best we can for good memories. Wow. I am just slightly tongue-tied this evening. Oh no. All right. So, let's see. I kind of like that one. Inch of time is worth an inch of gold, but you can't buy that inch of time with an inch of gold. It is true. And hi, G Webs. I just done the roll call because I'm flying solo without my DJ, because apparently I forgot to send him the link last weekend when we did this. So, yes. Ooh, Abigail's got right on the nose here. Time is your finite resource. Invest it wisely. Some things or people aren't worth your time. And this is one of those things for those of you out there who are the people pleasers, who want to make everyone happy all of the time. And yes, I might be pointing at myself a little bit. Some things are not worth your time. And some people are not worth your time. One of the things they talk about in all the growth stuff is that the numbers vary, but like the people you spend the most amount of time with are the ones who have the biggest impact on you. So make sure the people that are around you lift you up, don't tear you down. I have some friends who are high drama. I don't spend lots of time with my friends who are high drama. I will love them from afar, without a doubt. But for the most part, the people that I hang out with, the people that I call, the people that I reach out to from time to time, absolutely, you are the ones that lift me up. So I want to make sure I help lift you up. And sometimes just knowing that someone is thinking about you is enough. So, yes, sorry. So here we go. Spring is here to enjoy. It's true. Yesterday was our spring equinox, which is, for those who don't know, it's when we have the same amount of light and the same amount of day. And then we'll have our summer solstice, which is our longest day of the year. And then we go back to the fall, where we have that balance again of the exact same amount of light and the same amount of darkness. So when you find yourself going through yucky stuff, just know that this too shall pass. Just like as of today, we have a little bit more light than we did yesterday. And that will happen until we get to our summer solstice. And then from that point on, we'll have a little less light until we get to our fall equinox. So make sure that you do your best to enjoy the light and understand the darkness is there for a reason, and we can't have one without the other. All right, so there you have it. On G-Web's show, he's like, yeah, Brooke goes for about 15, 20 minutes. I've hit my 20 minutes without DJ. And, normally he gives me a little bit. And one of DJ's favorite things that he says to us, many episodes of this, is when you're out and about in your regular day, if you see someone who's not wearing a smile, make one. And understand, not everybody's going to smile back at you, but most of them will. So, all right. Oh, yes. And DJ Amortide was like, please, if you'd be so kind, when I end this momentarily, just refresh, type in a hi underneath this or whatever makes you smile. And yes, actually, I have that in my notes, Abigail. Like Hillbilly always says, make someone's day better. And remember, sometimes that's going to be you. Taryn and I, like I said, we get to go to the spa next week. So that'll be lovely. We're actually going to have lunch together, all that fun stuff. And so, yeah, someone's day sometime may just be you. All right, I'm going to leave you with DJ's last one. Hillbilly up at the top of the hour. So you guys all have fun. Enjoy your week. And DJ, I will talk to you later. Oh, and by the way, DJ, I don't have my phone with me. So if you've texted or called, it's in Connecticut and I'm in New Hampshire. So sorry about that. All right, my friends, thank you for popping in. And thanks for having chats on the side here, Facebook, YouTube, all of those fun things. And I will see you all next week. Good night, everybody.